And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. The 6minutewebinar.com enables you to be able to get a crystal clear message across on the one thing that you can do to help that person that's listening to you. It's a wonderful thing. Today, Jeremy and I are going to be discussing gut health and probiotics and all that good stuff. And there's one thing that we need to make a disclaimer here on. We are not doctors, and we definitely want you to be able to seek medical advice on anything that you have an interest in. Anything that you read, anything that you see, anything that you hear, either here or somewhere else, it doesn't matter. Be sure and have that, discuss that with your doctor, because what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. I think everybody probably knows, or most people know, that some people can eat peanut butter and some people can't. And some medicines have side effects to people and some of them don't. That's just the way it is, because we're all different. And when it comes to our gut health and probiotics, my goodness gracious, that's a very important topic. But let me welcome my co-host here, Mr. Jeremy Stone, to the show. Jeremy, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, Jim. How about you, buddy?
Doing good. Plumb proud to be here. Got my good dandelion tea here, and we're going to be sharing some great information for you folks to research, do your homework on, and be sure and discuss it with your doctor before you implement anything. That's just like they say, an exercise program. If you're going to get an exercise program, you want to make sure you have a physical with your doctor. Check out everything and make sure that you are, physically able to start a exercise program, and start out small. Don't try to start a 26-mile marathon 2 weeks from the time you start, because you're not going to happen. Jeremy, I am really impressed with you, because both of us, ladies and gentlemen, we have skin in the game. People that follow the show know that I'm very dedicated to helping people with heart conditions and all that. And Jeremy's very dedicated because of all of the physical ailments he has suffered from, which he's going to share in just 1 second as soon as I hush. And it also enabled him to enhance his studies in the field of medical cures, medicine, natural cures, things of this nature. So, Jeremy, I'm going to turn the mic over to you, sir.
Oh, well, thanks a lot, Jim. I'm always super excited to be here with you and with our audience and sharing about natural health and wellness. But yeah, my journey in chronic illness started back in 2012 when I was diagnosed with diabetes. Lots of people every year are diagnosed with diabetes. And like most people, when I got that diagnosis first, there was a little bit of fear, because you see all this stuff about, insulin and injections, and I did like what a lot of people do. I kind of blew it off, the diagnosis. They started me on some medicine, and not insulin right away, but over the years, a number of different medications, and just never really had really good control of it. I wasn't like super unhealthy. I didn't eat bags of candy or anything like that. So I considered myself to be fairly healthy, even though I had this diagnosis of diabetes. And a lot of people fall in that category. I wasn't grossly obese, or anything like that, but my blood sugar was high, and therefore I was a diabetic. And it's a common misconception, that a lot of people think that you have to be grossly obese to be diabetic, and it's just not the case.
Not true.
I had a few extra pounds, to be honest about it. I had a few extra pounds, but I wasn't grossly obese or anything like that. As recently as the beginning of this year, I was on 6 different medications, multiple injections. I was on the highest doses of insulin. I had neuropathy in my feet. Just for the audience, neuropathy it's where the chronic high levels of sugar damage the nerve cells, predominantly in your feet and in your hands, whereas you begin to lose feeling, but then you get this fire sensation, like somebody's burning your feet all day long. So it's irreversible, or so that's what I was told. Irreversible. You slow it down, make it irreversible. But whatever level of damage is done, damage is done. And then this year, I met a natural medicine doctor, and he introduced me some natural supplements and talked about it. And literally within a month, I was able to get off all 6 medications. And definitely, again, we want to make sure the audience don't just stop taking your medications. Consult with your doctor. But I started on this regimen back in April. And as of just this last month, when I had my last appointment with my primary care physician, I'm non-diabetic. My blood levels are non-diabetic. I'm at a normal, what we call an A1C level. My neuropathy's been reversed, even though I was told it's irreversible. So I don't have that constant burning sensation in my feet anymore. So that really got me digging into natural techniques, natural wellness. I'm currently getting my PhD and doctorate in natural medicine, and working on helping more people to find natural solutions to treat the root cause of issues, rather than treat the symptoms.
Yeah, that's really amazing. So you can see that Jeremy's got some skin in the game. He's been there. He knows the pain and everything he went through. He knows how he was able to turn his life around, his health around, improve his health. And now being, in a non-diabetic status, he's still, I guess, prone to having diabetes if he doesn't manage it and, maintain a good, healthy lifestyle. And the same is true with me. I've got a heart disease and all that. And I was just sharing with Jeremy right before we went live that I found something that NBC and CBS News were the two that reported on it, that since the COVID pandemic hit back in 2000, there has been a 30% increase in heart attacks in young people, 25 to 40. And they're the highest group of all of them. So that's my thing that I'm working on. So with Jeremy, you see his email there, jeremy@yourbizprofitscoach.com. Please get in touch with him if you have questions about diabetes or neuropathy or anything like that. Or if you'd just like to know more about him and just say hello to him. Or you can reach us here at the show. Our email address is inspiration@e360tvlive.com. You can get in touch with us either way, and our staff will make sure it gets to the proper person. But my goodness gracious, today we're going to be talking about gut health.
Yeah.
Jeremy, I don't know if you knew it, but I suffered a peptic ulcer back in 2008. I had just turned 60 years of age the month before and sprung a leak.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And I didn't have any pain or any discomfort in my stomach. All of a sudden, I just started, passing blood. And I figured, that's not good. And so they put me in the hospital and all that, and they were giving me blood, and I was still, I took 5 units of blood, ladies and gentlemen. And they did the upper and lower, GI thing on you, they call it, and they found I had a peptic ulcer, and they sent me home with the common medication, and I couldn't handle that because it just gave me, I had to lay down for about an hour and a half after I took the medicine, because my stomach was upset. And I felt like I had a huge metal band just right across the top of my head, just clamped down on it.
Yeah.
And I thought, I got to find something that works for me. And I found that the Australians were all over what causes the peptic ulcer that's brought on by a bacteria known as H. pylori. It's a big, long word. They just call it the letter H and then Pylori. Yep. And what they recommended was red pepper, cayenne pepper, because it created an environment in the stomach where the bacteria could not survive. It also helped reestablish the lining of the stomach, because the bacteria, the H. pylori, is a spiral type bacteria, and it just screws its way through the lining into the stomach wall, and that's what created the peptic ulcer. So I was very pleased with that. And that fits right into our gut health and probiotics. And I'm going to let you kick that off, if you don't mind, sir.
Well, fantastic. I'm super excited to actually talk about this today
Yeah.
because it is a term that you're hearing a lot more about. You'll see different practitioners talking about it, but people really still know so little about.
Yes.
And so while there's been a lot of recent research and there's more ongoing research on it, people are just now beginning to realize just the importance of what gut health means. So just to start off with, I want to make sure everybody's clear that when we're talking about gut health, we're not talking about the size of your abdomen. Okay, so that's not what gut health is referring to. No. So I'm not.
You got
I'm
a
not,
big gut, you got a lot of health, right?
yeah. I'm not talking about the size of your abdomen. So here's a couple of things that some ideas and concepts for us to think about. There's a lot of terms that get thrown out when people are talking about gut health. We talk about the gut-brain connection, which we can dig into a little bit. We talk about probiotics, prebiotics. And not so much. Most people probably haven't really heard much about postbiotics, but we'll talk a little bit about that today, and what those really mean, what they do for our bodies, and really why this idea of gut health is so important to your overall health. Okay, so a lot of people, I think of their digestive system basically as the internal septic system, right? And I don't know what kind of system you have at your home there, Jim, if you're on city septic or if you're on a private septic, but most people know that the food goes in, waste comes out, and then it goes and gets dispersed, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of that's where our system, right? We put our food in, and then our body is designed. Our gut takes it through, and our gut isn't just our stomach, right? It's this entire system. And predominantly when we're talking about gut health, we're talking about our small intestine and our large intestine, or our colon. And so this is where it's really, really gets interesting. So your body has about 30 trillion human cells. 30 trillion. The average body has 30 trillion human cells. Okay. The average body also has about 39 trillion microbe cells, or if you're microbiota. So I want you to understand that we're outnumbered, right? So that the microbiota that is found predominantly in your small intestine, your large intestine, is 9 trillion more cells than actually all your human cells in your body.
That's really amazing, because a lot of people do not realize that the gut and the entire digestive tract, it is lined and covered with microorganisms that are mainly bacteria.
Exactly.
And I tell you, that bacteria is a good bacteria. And, we've talked a little bit in the past that your gut, and I'm kind of convinced, I'm looking at real simple, folks, but your gut is the starting point of good health. It really is, because that's what, starts processing what you put into it. You can't put garbage in and get good stuff out. And I'm speaking of, poor eating habits, poor diet, that sort of thing. But your gut health, your heart health, and your brain health, they all work together in perfect harmony. And having good bacteria in there, it's critical if you want to enjoy good health. It's not an option, it's critical. It's kind of like engine oil in your engine. If you don't have engine oil in your engine, you drive that car a few miles and that engine's going to lock up and it's going to be worthless.
Well, yeah, absolutely, Jim, and that's the thing that most people don't really truly understand just how important these microbes are. We become a very society. We think you got to be sterile, right? So we use hand sanitizer all the time. We kill germs, right? Well, I just told you that there's 39 trillion germ cells, right, that you need inside of your body, right? It's a party. So when we take things like antibiotics, right? Antibiotics are going in to kill a bacteria or a toxological microbe, right? And so, but the problem is that they oftentimes can't differentiate, so they kill good microbes as well, which
Yes, they do.
then throw us out of whack. Now, in a body that's in homeostasis, that means that it's doing everything it's supposed to be doing, right? These microbes, they do a lot of different things. So these 39 trillion cells, right? They produce energy, and send that energy. It sends things to your mitochondria. They produce immunology. So, they're a part of your immunological system. They help to regulate or keep control of or get rid of bacteria that is toxic, right? The not good bacteria.
Right.
And so they do that. The problem is sometimes when we don't have enough of these good bacteria in there, and then we get a bad microbe that comes in and it begins to populate, it overwhelms and we become sick. And so then we go get an antibiotic, right? Well, this throws our entire, microbe system out of whack. And therefore we start to suffer other issues. An imbalanced microbiome has been, research has shown, is related to increased obesity. So not having the right microbes in your body can actually lead to obesity. There's been studies done in rats that actually have shown where they take, an obese rat and they take the microbiome from it. They do a fecal transplant into a very healthy, sterile rat, and that rat will all of a sudden begin to eat more and become obese. So that mix helps to determine that.
Yeah, it really does. And, at the Mayo Clinic, I talked about how the digestive tract is fully lined with good bacteria and all that. And they talk about how this plays a very large, important role in your health. And what's really amazing, in their report here, they say you might be surprised that you have up to, and maybe a little more than 1,000 different types of bacteria. And by nourishing these different types of bacteria, you keep your microsystem, your bacterial microsystem, in balance. And that's what we're talking about. Because they talk about when it starts getting out of balance, one of the first things you're going to notice is that you're going to have a mood change. Or you may have a headache and you wonder, I never get headaches. This is a signal to you that something is out of balance.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like we had Joel Peterson on, the professional patient, and Joel talked about there's proof now where PTSD is not just mental, it's physical. It's where the gut and the heart and the brain are just out of whack. And it throws everything else out. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I mean, that's that whole idea of homeostasis, right? Holistic medicine.
Right.
We talk about the whole body, right? Whereas focusing on a symptom in a particular area of the body, there's different connected things, right? And the gut, and again, we're talking about mostly the intestines there, actually has more neurons than your brain does. So this area down in your abdomen, and this is this brain gut connection, right? There's actually more neurons in the gut, and you think about it, that this area down here holds about 30 feet of intestine. There's 30. Think of the surface area of that, right? So this is where our inside world is in contact with the outside world. And so it's super, super important, because all of these different things that we ingest, that we bring in, go in there, and then these microbes got to do their job. So let's kind of just explain so everybody understands what the 3 P's are. Okay. So the probiotic is like adding soldiers to your army. Okay. Now, just like any other army, you lose soldiers in battle, right? But you also lose them to attrition, right? They just leave, they retire, and so you got to constantly be replacing these soldiers. Those are your probiotics. Okay, the prebiotics and I know you were in the Army too, so you understand this, right? These are like your support. This is your supply, right? And so the prebiotics are actually the food, the nourishment for the probiotics. Most people don't understand that's what those are, right? So the probiotics are the soldiers, the prebiotics are the support and the supply to keep those soldiers going.
They're the mess hall for you military people.
That's right. That's right. And then the postbiotics, are the result or the fermentation or the waste products of what the probiotics generate when they use up the prebiotics, right? So
Right.
3 Ps.
I like the way you put that. That's very well put because it's so interesting, and we need to understand that. Remember, you hear about diseases; they seem to go in cycles. And irritable bowel syndrome was a big one. I got irritable bowel syndrome. Well, guess what that is? That's a gross lack of good bacteria. You don't have enough of the probiotics in there, in that army, and you don't have the prebiotics feeding that army to get the job done. And doctors just label it as an irritable bowel syndrome because it is. Your bowels are irritated. They really are.
Yeah.
And go ahead, sir.
No, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. I was going to listen to someone intelligent talk about the bowel system here. Go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is that the connection between an imbalance in the microbiome in the gut is his research has shown is linked to, just like what you said, irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's disease,
Yes.
but also things that you wouldn't even think about because those are kind of associated in the gut. So you'd think, okay, that kind of makes sense, right? But it's also linked to obesity. It's linked to diabetes. It's linked to cardiovascular disease. It's linked to high cholesterol. It's linked to high blood pressure. It's linked to autism. It's linked to MS. And so all of this research is beginning to show just how critical this is. And there is talk in research circles or whatnot that medicine is going to the treatment of diseases is going to begin to focus a lot more on this microbiome that's located in the body because we're understanding now just how critical it is. And these things, we're talking about, you can't see them without a microscope, right?
Right.
But the 39 trillion microbes in your microbiome weigh around 3 pounds, a little bit more than 3 pounds of your body weight. So you have like 3 pounds of these microbiome that you can't even see that you're carrying around in your body. So it's so critical to overall health, heart health, brain health, and then, when we're talking about the connection from the intestine into your bloodstream, you get the lumen there. And so you have what's called these tight junctions right inside of your small intestine. That's where most of the absorption happens. And so the job there is to just release what it, open up and let the good stuff through into the blood system, which then goes to your brain. That's the brain gut connection, right? And then there's another lumen up in your brain that then lets the things into your actual brain, right? So if your gut bacteria is out of whack and you have high levels of zonulin, which is the protein that regulates the opening and closing of your cell wall there in your intestine, then it stays open, and then all these toxins get to come in, and then you trigger autoimmune disorders, you trigger a whole bunch of other unhealthy diseases, and all the antioxidants and stuff, and it travels to the rest of the body.
It really does, and that is the breeding ground that's necessary for inflammation and free radicals. And a lot of people have heard a lot about inflammation over the years, with arthritis and things of this nature. And free radicals is starting to become more and more on the scene. But those two things, I hate to say it, but they work together in perfect harmony for bad results, because that is the foundation of all disease and all that. If the bacteria is off, I knew a person who suffered from constipation a lot. And that gentleman, he used to always, take, stuff to help him X-Lax and products like that. Well, see, all you're doing is relieving a problem, but you're not addressing the problem. What causes the constipation? Because you've got to think of your digestive system as an ecosystem. That's exactly what it is.
Yes.
In a nutshell, that's exactly what it is.
Yes.
And everyone knows that you go outside, you want to smell fresh air, you want to see. I don't think anybody'd ever get tired of a waterfall, looking at a waterfall. If you had a waterfall in your backyard, I know a guy built a fountain that's got a little waterfall back there, and he never gets tired of looking at it. Just something beautiful like that. But that's all part of the ecosystem in your body.
Yes.
We all love to see the outside world with a great ecosystem, and rightfully so. We should be good caretakers of our planet, no question about that. Starting from don't throw litter on the ground or anything like that, and don't, you leave the place cleaner than you found it, and that sort of thing. But the same thing applies internally, because you've got a delicate ecosystem inside your body, starting in your gut and your large and small intestine. You really do. And that's critical, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, because when I was preparing for today's show, that's exactly one of the points that I had intended to make, and an analogy. The analogy that I wanted to use was that everybody is very familiar with the Great Barrier Reef, right?
Oh,
it's a super delicate ecosystem, and if somebody was to take a boat and dump oil and sewage and everything over the ecosystem of the Great Barrier Reef, right? Mm-hmm. We would be in an uproar.
Oh yeah.
Because we understand how it would destroy it, but yet we dump garbage into our mouths, into this ecosystem of our bodies all the time. And so you're exactly right, Jim, and I'm so glad that you brought that. It is an ecosystem. It has to be maintained. There's a balance and a harmony that needs to be maintained in order to remain in that homeostasis, for us to be healthy. That's wellness. That's what wellness is. Wellness is homeostasis. It's our bodies doing what it's supposed to do.
It's a lifestyle.
And that's exactly it. And so we don't just dump garbage over the Great Barrier Reef. We would freak out if we saw somebody doing that. And yet you see people at fast food restaurants all the time. Just every single day, day in and day out, you see people, just eating processed food, high fructose corn syrup, all of that stuff. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're throwing that ecosystem out of whack. And they wonder why they feel sick.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, your body is a processing center. It's not a recycling center. And, before my heart attack, I love Snickers, and I still love Snickers. I don't have anything bad to say about Snickers. I won't do it because I loved it so much, and I love Ding Dongs too because I'm a little dingy, but I cannot expect to take and eat Snickers or Ding Dongs and all that, and then take a vitamin or mineral supplement and think that I'm going to enjoy good health, because I'm setting my body up to be a recycling center. And in my internal ecosystem, I've got to give it good food and good vitamins, good minerals to feed that army. So the prebiotics can feed the army, the probiotics, and do its job. And the ecosystem can do its job by discharging all of the harmful waste and things that, your body needs to get rid of. Yeah. And, it's just, it just amazes me how, a lot of people, and I've known people that were just like me. Eat what you want to. See, in my 50s, I ate the same way I did in my 30s. But I took vitamins and supplements, thinking that I can have my cake and eat it too. Well, that may sound good, and it did at the time. That was back when I was young and dumb. But the reality of it is, I did not knew nothing about prebiotics or probiotics or ecosystem or anything like it. It wasn't even anywhere on my radar. But I just thought, if I just take this handful of, herbs and vitamins and supplements, I'm good to go. And
Yep.
nothing could be further from the truth.
No,
Nothing could be further from the truth.
no, and I think we mentioned this last week maybe, but Hippocrates, the father of medicine, said, "Let food be thy medicine."
Yes.
So it's not something that's newfangled. It's not some new age idea that even back then, they were saying that your food is your medicine.
Yeah.
That's the way we were created. If you're a believer in the creator, we were created to heal ourselves. We were created
Yes.
to be in symbiosis with nature and with our nutrition
Yeah.
and to have this.
Yeah.
Everything that we need to heal ourselves is
Is here.
between here and the bottom of my feet.
Yeah.
Everything. But we introduce these things into our bodies that throw that out of whack, and then our body can't do what it's supposed to do. And your gut
Yeah.
health is just one part of that.
It really is. And the sad part of it is we're always looking to try and fix ourselves. We see that in society today. They're trying to legislate, regulate, and strangulate society to have morals. And all they got to do is just say, hey, what we need to do is love one another and forgive one another. Because we're all different. We were made different. And we need to accept what's available to us because the Bible made it very, very clear in the very end of the first chapter for those of you that believe in the Bible, whether you believe in the Bible or not, the fact of it is we have everything on planet Earth provided for us, just like the birds of the air.
Yep.
They get fed, they have everything that they need, and all the animals do in their system. But we have the same thing. It's just that we think we're smart enough that we can fix ourselves. And I'm not knocking modern medicine at all. Don't get me wrong. Modern medicine has been a blessing to me. It saved my life when I had that widowmaker heart attack. I needed doctors. I needed surgeons. I needed cardiologists. I still communicate with my cardiologist. I go see him and take blood tests and all that to make sure that I'm not doing something dumb. Because if you don't know what you're doing, you can harm yourself. And one of the things that we're talking about, this has been around for thousands of years, and a lot of people talk about people of Asian background and how slim they are and how healthy they are and longevity and all that. One of the most common things that they did in a study was that when these folks get up, the first thing they do is drink a glass of water in the morning. And that study proved that will help you lose weight because you've been fasting all night. That's why we call the first meal of the day breakfast, because you break the fast when you eat. And in addition to that, since you fasted all night, and when you drink water, a glass of water, you can put lemon in it, put a little bit of apple cider vinegar in it, whatever. I put a little dandelion tea in mine. But anyway, the point being is that now you're giving your body the proper fluid that it needs to get going, to start working.
Yeah.
This is before you eat anything. This is before you have your coffee. I'm a coffeeholic too, so coffee's got some good antibiotics in it. But the common denominator was they found that people that drink water, that's very, very critical too, because water keeps your everything flowing.
Yeah.
And you cannot, I remember I've seen guys, of course we live in Texas here. In summertime it gets, you might say it gets warm and humid, and hot.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. And I've seen people that's red-faced, men and women both. And they're sweating and they're wiping sweat. And you can tell they need, water. And what do? They drink a soda pop.
Yep.
My goodness. And that just complicates the issue. But when it comes to your gut health, that's why, like I said earlier, when I got sick to my stomach, with taking the certain medication, I was sick all over. We all get sick all over. I feel like I've been kicked in the gut. That's the gut saying, hey, you're not going to be doing well today because I'm not doing well today. And the
Yeah.
gut rules the gut kind of rules the world, doesn't it?
Yeah, and but here's the thing too. You know, it, that our gut can be unhealthy without us knowing that our gut is unhealthy.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
Okay. So,
Yeah.
when we're talking on the microbiology level, right? I mean, people think of, oh, I got a stomach ache or I'm, vomiting or anything like that. But you could be going around with poor gut health for a long time before you
Yeah.
begin to experience the effects, right?
Yeah.
Of that. And so, I mean, when's the last time you've been to your physician and they ordered a GI map test, right?
Yeah.
And so this is where we're moving into like functional medicine, right? Functional practitioners, holistic practitioners, are a lot more folks that, okay, when the first test that you want to do is to do a GI map. And so essentially what that does is you provide a sample of what comes out the end, right?
Yep.
And you send it in and they map out your microbiome, right? They
Yeah.
map out what different types of, and they use mRNA DNA testing, right?
Yeah.
And that's how they determine what the different microbe, because every microbe has its own DNA mRNA like we do, right? And so they actually map it out to see what the balance level of your microbiome is.
Wow.
And then you can make decisions about your health and about your wellness based off of that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And do that. So it's I think it's behooves people to begin to ask for these bigger picture things, right? To get involved in asking questions
Sure.
in your medicine and in your wellness, and go, okay, let's figure out how healthy my microbiome is, because your microbiome can be unhealthy and you not know it until it's you're suffering all these chronic illnesses,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and people just aren't thinking about that.
Yeah. I had a very interesting, well, it may be interesting, I hope it is to you folks out there in TV land. I had an incident happen to me back in 84, 85, something like that. I landed in the hospital. I had a very bad case of an upset stomach, diarrhea. I was hurting, and they put me in the hospital, and there were only 3 people in Tucson, Arizona. This is what the doctors told me. So there's only 3 people that's got the same systems as you. And, the same symptoms. And, says, all we do, we put them on antibiotics. We take them off of all food. And they give you that, they have an injection they can give you to help calm your stomach. Well, I learned the hard way. If they shoot that thing to you, it'll put you into dry heaves, because there was nothing left in me. And I was in bad shape and I was hurting. And they were actually having me, when I went to the restroom, they had a little pot in there that would catch everything. And they were trying to determine what in the world's going on. And they never did figure it out. They had said, it's kind of like you 3 went down to Mexico and drank some dirty water. But what was really weird, all 3 of us, they asked us question after question after question after question. None of us had anything in common. We had not ate at the same restaurant anywhere. We had nothing in common. So they were at a loss. So all they knew to do was just shoot us full of antibiotics, take us off food for 3 days. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll be honest with you, this actually happened. I'm not making this up. I saw a juicy hamburger commercial, and I started drooling like a hound dog at a picnic, because I was starving to death after 3 days on IVs,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's your gut health. And see, they did tell me, said this has been coming on for some time. This wasn't just something just flared up, like you catch a flu or something. It wasn't anything like it. They said this thing, what we have found so far, this thing has been building up and building up. Same thing happened with my peptic ulcer I mentioned earlier. When they went down and did the lower and upper GI on me, they says, you've had 2 or 3 before, but this one here was a big one. And the other two just dried up and scarred over, you might say. But this one here sprung a leak, and that's why I needed 5 units of blood.
Yeah.
And, you know, Jeremy, I was teasing my wife after she come and got me out of the hospital. We passed by a restaurant, and I said, I think I've ate there recently, you know, joking with her about the blood. But it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing to be able to take control of your health and communicate with your doctor and do the lab test, make sure that you know that you're headed on the right path. Because that's what I do with my heart. I go in for regular, lab work. And, that's how I know how my cholesterol levels are doing. And they listen to my heart and everything and listen to my lungs. And fortunately, they don't give me a mental test because I'd still be there on that one.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we should probably make sure that we do today, Jim, before
Go ahead.
Our time is up, maybe is to just kind of talk about, okay, so we've talked about what it is, what the gut health is and microbiome, but maybe talk about some ways that we can improve our gut health and some things that we can do, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, we'll stop complaining is what he's saying there. So we'll go ahead.
Oh no, I just want to make sure. I know that we got hard stop time, so because other shows come on after us, so I want to make sure that we don't just talk about what we give them some tools.
Go ahead.
So let's talk about starting at a very, very young age. So for our kids, what we could do to help them. Then we'll talk about as adults what we can do to help that as well.
Sure.
So when I talk about a very, very young age, I'm talking about from birth. So let's talk about how we can help the microbiome and gut health from birth. So one of the biggest things or the risks to a microbiome of an infant is C-section, because a lot of the microbiome, the real big major dose of microbiome that a child gets is when it comes through the vaginal canal. And so there's actually a vaginal microbiome, and that whole process of birthing slathers the child in it. It gets inside the mucus and it starts to create their microbiome. Now they've gotten some while they're in utero, right? So if for some reason you have to have an emergency C-section and you're not able to do a vaginal birth, it is highly recommended that you have the physician take some of the vaginal microbiome from inside you and put it on the child, on the newborn baby's face, right? To help to inoculate, right, the newborn. So that's one thing how we can help our children. And then breastfeeding, we've been able to measure in breast milk actually the microbiome from the gut is being fed to the baby, right? So this is the second where it starts to build it. Okay. So lots of times in today's society, we're doing a lot more C-sections and we're not breastfeeding, we're bottle feeding. And so we're actually taking away the double dose, the double whammy of our children be able to get that super critical building that microbiome. So within the first 3 years of birth, a child has developed its microbiome to its adult microbiome. So that's what its microbiome was going to be, right? So it's super, super critical. Our children, if they have antibiotics prior to 6 months, within the first 6 months, they are much more likely to be obese than if the children who don't have microbes. So only getting antibiotics for really, really bad infections, right? And doctors are beginning to wise on to this more and prescribe it less, do more of a wait and see than it used to be. It used to be, as soon as you see a subsiding symptom, we just throw the antibiotics in there, right? So, being a parent, advocating for your child, do we really need this antibiotic, doc, or is it something that we can hold off for a little bit, right? Because to help to give that better chance. Then, as adults, eating probiotic and prebiotic type foods, right? So probiotics, yogurt, right? Good yogurt, cottage cheese. Now here's the challenge that we have in the Western side of the world. So we have this thing called casein, which is found in dairy products, right?
Right.
Now in our part of the world, the really harmful casein is what's called A1 casein. and that is 90% of our dairy products here come from Holstein cows, and they have the highest level of A1 casein. However,
Mm-hmm.
you'll find a lot of people in other countries that drink a lot of milk, right? They don't have the same health issues or anything like that. That's because those cows have what's called A2 casein. So it's not as bad for your microbiome. So reducing your dairy, right? If you can, increasing your probiotics. If you can, make sure that it's made from goat's milk or sheep's milk because they don't have
Right.
the A1 casein, they have
Mm-hmm.
A2 casein. So there's a difference. And casein is pro-inflammatory, so it causes it causes inflammation in the body, and all these different issues. So getting your
Mm-hmm.
probiotics with yogurt, cottage cheese, that kind of stuff, but trying
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that it's
Yeah.
goat or cheese milk if at all possible.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also recommended for anything that's fermented like kimchi or sauerkraut. Now, I know a lot of people like sauerkraut, but I love sauerkraut. I
Yep.
really can. I really do. And it just, it's funny how your body will react to certain things because you can put something on your tongue and man, it tastes good. And somebody else goes, ew, that stuff is yucky.
Yeah.
But that's a direct signal from your gut, I believe, and I could be wrong on this. I was wrong last week, believe it or not, Jeremy, but I got over it. But I honestly believe if your tongue likes the taste of it, that's a direct signal from your gut saying, hey, I need that. I need that because fermentation like that, and like Greek yogurt is very good. You're correct on goat's milk because goat's milk is also naturally homogenized in the sac. It really is. And I used to be a member of the American Dairy Goat Association, and goats are very particular about what they will eat.
Yeah.
They're finicky. A lot of people say, well, a billy goat, he'll chew on anything. He's a guy. But your dairy goats, they're very, very clean,
Yep.
and they don't even like to eat the hay or whatever you use there. They where you put your hand.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen them paw it away, and then eat around it. They're very, very particular like that. And, we need to get more smart like animals because they're very much in tune what's good for them. And that's
Well,
why
yeah.
dogs, a lot of people wonder why dogs eat grass or chew on grass. They're missing something.
Yeah, and the other thing with our dairy products, I mean, let's face it, is that the majority of our milk and our dairy products are coming from cows that have been fed mass amounts of antibiotics, right? And that's coming straight through
Yeah.
to us, and so we're killing
Yeah.
our microbiome.
Yeah.
We're ending up with more things like mammalian cysts and tumors,
Yeah.
so there's all these issues. So they're being fed hormones and they're being fed antibiotics. So we're throwing off not just our hormonal system, we're killing our good bacteria with the antibiotics that we're taking through our dairy products. And
Yes.
so it's really, really important that we're really conscious of what it is that we're intaking.
Yeah. And the same is very true with the acid rain that falls on our crops. A lot of people want to eat organic, think it's good, but the organic farmers, I had one on the radio show a few years back, and I asked him, I says, how do you, being an organic farmer, I didn't mean to put him on the spot, it was just a thought, question came to my mind. I says, as an organic farmer, how do you deal with the acid rain that falls on the crops, gets absorbed into the soil, into the roots, into the plant, and into the fruit of the plant, whatever it might be, and into our bodies? He didn't have an answer for that. He got kind of upset from me even asking the question, but I thought it was a good question. I really
Right.
did. Because your body has to do something with any type of foreign materials like that. And, that's why, Jeremy, you and we're real big on finding good proven products that's been clinically tested. I mean, the actual product has been clinically tested
Yep.
to do what it says it's supposed to do. And we're very fond of the end results of that because Jeremy and I are all about truth, honesty, and just being very transparent about stuff. And if you'd like to know more about some of the things that Jeremy has discussed, please, please, please get in touch with Jeremy. And I'm looking here for his email address. We got a whole list of things here that, there he is. Found him right there. That's Jeremy's email. Be sure and email Jeremy directly. It comes to him directly. He'll be glad to answer your question. He'll be glad to refer you to the information that he has at his fingertips. That way you can make an informed decision on and discuss it with your doctor to make the right and informed decision for you. And since we're about ready to close, I want to give a shout out to a company that means a lot to me. I use them a lot. They're not paid. They don't even know I'm doing this here.
Yeah.
But this is kind of like a nicety to know, if I may. We all get phone calls on our cell phones, and we'll get a text. And these texts act like they already know us. Well, when I send a text to someone that's new that doesn't have me in their system, I'll say, "Hi, Mary. Hi, Joe, whoever. This is Jim Grant." They know right up front who they're dealing with. And so if you want a free service, when I say free, I mean it won't cost you one dime, to be able to look up a phone number. It will tell you if it's a mobile phone, a landline, or a VoIP. Just go to this website right here, NumLookup, NumLookup.com. Like I say, these people they're not paying me to do this. They don't even know I'm doing it. But I like to pass on something that's good, because I can do up to, I think, about 6 different searches a day before they have me. So you need to subscribe. If I run out of freebies, I'll wait till the next day. But you can put the phone number in there. And if it's a VoIP, I believe that stands for Voice over Internet Protocol. I'm not sure. But anyway, that phone number you want to block. And I'll tell you why. Whoever calls you or contacts you with a VoIP number, they are hiding their real identity. It's usually used, those type of phones are usually used by scammers, con men, and nobody that I want to even talk to or be associated with will want to hide their identity. Because Jeremy and I, we're on TV all over the world. We're on millions of devices. And we got our names and addresses, our emails there and all that, because we are who we say we are.
Yeah.
And that's very important. And I wanted to give a shout out to those folks there. And again, let me put up Jeremy's email there. I'm getting quicker at this here as we get closer on time there. I hope. There it is. And Jeremy, I'll tell you, I'm very, very thankful that you have joined our show here on Tuesdays for the health and wellness, because you've got skin in the game. You care about people's health. You're going the extra mile, because before you're just a business coach that had health problems. And then you said, "Hey, I helped myself. There's other people out there." And Jeremy's focus, ladies and gentlemen, I know Jeremy personally. Jeremy's focus is to help you in your hour of need when it comes to your health. I can't say it any more plainer or any more clear than that, and I give you my word on that, ladies and gentlemen. I truly do. And I would put up Jeremy's phone number, but he gets all these phone calls anyway. But
well, let me use that NumLookup. I'm going to make sure there's no voice over internet protocol.
Yeah, but sincerely, ladies and gentlemen, be sure and contact Jeremy if you have any questions or anything like it. He'll give you the straight scoop on it. We're not here to sell you products, lotions, potions, or pills or anything like that. But we're here to help you in your hour of need, because we've been there. Him with his, diabetes and neuropathy, me with my heart disease. We've been there. We got skin in the game. We didn't just read a book and say, "Hey, we're going to share that information." Yeah. We've got skin in the game. We care about you. And Jeremy, our time is gone. We're going to be back next week, and I think, let's see here. We're going to be talking about, let's see here.
Superfoods for optimal health.
He said it best. Superfoods for optimal health. Okay.
There you go.
So come hungry. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone. We sincerely thank you so much for tuning in wherever you are in the world. Be sure and share this show with someone else. You can find us on Facebook, our YouTube channel, our TV. Our shows are also on, get uploaded the day after they're broadcasted, and it's on our my TV. My TV. Let me put the thing up there. MyTVLive.com. Let's see here. Where's our website here? I'm running out of time here. Here we go. Anyway, here it is. MyTVShowLive.com. You think I'd remember that by now? But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, sincerely, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure and share this with others. And if you have any question, any comment, please get in touch with us. We'll be glad to give you the information we have at our fingertips. And that's true on all of our shows. And most importantly, we sincerely hope that you and your loved ones are healthy, happy, and blessed in all areas of your life. And next week, we're going to be back again. And Jeremy's going to be sharing a lot of great information on what now? What did you say?
We're going to talk about superfoods for optimal health.
Superfoods.
What the superfoods are.
There we go. I'm ready for some superfoods. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. Have a wonderful day. Bless you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate it.